Guys, it is Joe McDonough back again for CageSidePress.com. I'm joined by big winner from just a few days ago, Mario Bautista. Mario, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Feels good to get back in that win column.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about that in a second. But does it ever, I know it must feel great that the night of, as you're walking out of the octagon, a winner, hanging out with your team, your friends, your family. But as the days go on, what is the feeling after a big win? I mean, does it kind of settle like I got that win? Do you start just like I got that win, now I'm pushing it off to the side and thinking of what's next? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, usually like that Sunday, you like take it all in, and then I'm already back in the gym, just working to continue getting better. So I'm gonna go back to practice later on and just continue that grind process. So.
And what's it like being back at the first practice after you're kind of, you have your corner there and everyone, but only two or three people from your team to be back with your full team, your sparring partners. What's that like when you first walk in the gym, or when any teammate first walks in the gym after a big win?
Oh, it always feels good, the other guys congratulate you and everything. But I was just mainly back. We have a few guys fighting in the next month,
Mhm.
and those guys help me get ready for my fight. So I just want to make sure I'm there for them as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you had said, feels good to be back in the win column. Only your second pro loss your last time out, but then there was also some cancellations, I think there were two. Just talk to me about kind of, because I'm sure after the loss you're feeling like I want to get back in there. I need to get, back in the win column. But to have those kind of like minor setbacks and fight cancellations, injuries, things like that, does that add to this win?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was about almost a year since my last fight, and I was supposed to fight in August, and had caught COVID. And, then 4 months later, it got booked. It definitely adds to it. It just feels like I finally got the win, and I'm ready to move forward and stay healthy and continue on this momentum.
Absolutely. And anything surprising from this fight? I mean, anything that you walked away from like not expecting?
No, 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 nothing really surprising. Jay Parent was really tough. We knew he was going to be tough, and he's going to be there for all 3 rounds.
Mhm.
That was the only surprising thing is he could definitely eat some elbows. That's for sure.
And we saw that live, and that was, it was super super tough to last through that. Talk to me about the MMA Lab. I mean, we've spoke on it, but just such a special gym, and I've talked to many coaches from there, many fighters from there, and just they all tell me the same thing about the family atmosphere of the MMA Lab. Just talk to me about being a part of that, and that being your home base.
Yeah, it's definitely a family atmosphere. That's what kind of attracted me once I got there. You kind of have like this stigma about a gym, like it's just a bunch of tough guys walking around.
Mhm.
But there's the kids corner. My daughter goes with me every day, and it's really cool being with those guys that them, like I said, helping me through my fights, and I get the chance to help them through theirs. And I think that's a real big thing over there, that it really attracted me.
Uh-huh. And tell me, I mean, that's got to be pretty cool. A pretty cool feeling, being able to bring your daughter essentially to work every day. Just go off and play with the other kiddos, but to kind of see her before and after a training session and stuff. Just that's got to be a pretty cool feeling.
Oh yeah, and sometimes I forget that's not the normal for some people. Some guys have 9 to 5 jobs, and they maybe their kids sleeping in the morning, and they see him for a few hours at night. And I'm just blessed and lucky. I get to be with my daughter
Yeah.
pretty much every day.
And what are her thoughts on what dad does?
Oh, she's 3, so she's starting to understand a little bit. She'll
Yeah,
see me on TV. Dad, that's you with your boom booms. That's what she calls the gloves, boom booms. And
I
then
love that.
she'll start just like throwing punches in the air and stuff. So she's funny.
So possibly a future fighter is what I'm hearing.
Maybe I hope not, but if that's what she wants to do, I'm behind her 100%.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm hearing is that maybe a new nickname here, Mario Boom Boom Batista.
Oh, that's a good one right there, huh? Four B's,
um,
possibly.
now, talk to me about your career hasn't been here at only 28 years old still, but your career has been in a sense an odd route, I guess. You were a high level prospect. You were kind of sought out early on in your career. I mean, I think you're only 3-0 when you started with LFA, which is essentially a breeding ground for the UFC, and obviously now you're here. Just talk to me about kind of like getting that call to go compete in LFA in such a big promotion very early on in your career.
Oh yeah, that was a big one. That's the one that gave me like a little bit of jitters because when you envision, in my mind, I always envisioned fighting in the UFC. So once I got there, it was a little bit more. I was a little bit more relaxed about it, but I never really thought about fighting in the LFA. And so when I got the call to fight in the LFA, it's just like, okay, like it's getting serious now. You
Yeah.
got to win like these fights in here, and if you want to make it to where I want to go.
Eh,
So
yeah, absolutely. And things I've heard and things I'm hearing you say is like once you're in LFA, it makes it easier to be in the UFC in a sense. Like you've like because you had know that feeling of I need to win these LFA fights to get to that next level. And then once you get to the UFC, you've already fought in a pretty hectic atmosphere. And obviously it's not the same, but it is, essentially just a step below it.
yeah, it definitely gets you prepped for the big show, and they do have some really tough guys coming up from there, and some guys that maybe some veterans from other promotions they fight there as well. So it's serious when you're fighting for the LFA.
Absolutely. And if we take a look back at your amateur career, I believe you were 4-1. But your amateur career ended, I think, in 2013, and your pro career started in 2017. Can you just talk to me about that kind of hiatus, or what was going on during that 4-year span?
Yeah, I have a few on there. I guess they're not official because they might have been on the reservation. But I had ten amateur fights, and I was up in northern Nevada, and our gym got shut down. So I saved my money for about 2 months, moved down here to Phoenix, and they just want to see how you'll train and how committed you are before they want you to take another amateur fight. And so it was about 6 months, took an amateur fight, and then money started running a little low. So I started to look for a job,
Mhm.
and it was like about 2 years where I did not fight, and I was able to get a part-time job, and Benson Henderson actually sponsored me for a few months, helping me pay my bills. So a big thanks to that guy. He really believed in me, and I was able to get that first pro win, and I just started rattling them off and getting to where I am.
Yeah, and one of the when you think of the good guys in the sport of MMA, Benson Henderson is one of the names that rolls off the tongue in the first five names. But to kind of go through that and have that 2-year span where you kind of need to be working because you're not making the money in MMA, and doing it on the side and all of that stuff to get from that spot to now here you are, a bunch of UFC wins under your belt, possibly on the verge of a rank, all this stuff. I mean, just do you ever look back and just like, whoa?
Yeah, it has been a crazy ride. Like just getting to where I am, kind of, you have your financial things, like you get into debt, and then just life in general, and you're just you never know if you're really gonna, get that breakout that you need. And lost my first UFC fight, and then luckily, had two bonuses back to back. So that was really really changing for me, and really set things up for me.
Absolutely. Well, you're one of the most exciting prospects in the division, one of the best divisions in the sport. What do you think is next for you? I mean, do you have any names? Or are you just kind of like throw whoever you want at me? I'm going for that performance bonus again. I know you were going through for it against Jay. He was just had that toughness that wasn't. But what's next?
uh yeah, I'm not like the guy to call anyone out, but I do want some good names, and I know there's some names out there. But more than anything, I just want to be active. I want to have at least 3 fights this year. I did fight pretty early in the year, so maybe possibly every quarter. And I'm 28 right now, so I really want to be fighting in the years where I'm in like my prime physical uh, condition. So I really want to be active.
Absolutely. And last one for me is just kind of going backwards on what we had talked about. Um, what's it like when you are in that moment, amateur fighter looking for that next fight? You go down to MMA Lab, you're sitting there with, John Crouch, Benson Henderson, all these huge names, and you're kind of essentially on a tryout. Like you said, they want to see how you work, how you fit with the team before they get you another amateur fight. What is that like? Because that sounds just as nerve wracking as a UFC debut.
Oh yeah, it was definitely pretty tough. Those first few months, like you're just getting beat up by the UFC veterans, and you're getting tossed in the cage. And I would have, you know, some pretty bad days, where I felt like, man, like, is this really, am I really gonna make it? And guys like John Crouch, Benson, they just believed in me, and they would tell me things like, you're gonna be a superstar one of these days, man. Just keep working hard. And I did just that, and luckily I listened to them, and here I am.
Well, one thing that we've seen time and time again from those two is that they can pick talent, and they got it right again. Mario, thank you for the time, man. I look forward to what's next for you, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.